Okay, short answer. Yes, you should buy a 20 out of 10 game. Go get it right now if you haven't. And if you're here for longer, then that means you just want to see my opinion. This game. Oh, this game. This is my book of all the notes so I don't forget things. Okay, so is the game worth the hype? 1,000,000 out of 10. No questions asked. This game... Oh, when I say this game is good, it is a masterpiece. It is the creme de la creme. Exactly on trend when I'm saying that. This is hard to grip, but fantastic. If you don't play this game because it's turn-based, I'm not even going to have a go at you for being so close-minded and stupid. I'm just going to tell you that I'm genuinely serious. You are missing out. And if you really don't want to play turn-based, that's fine. I still recommend go watch the actual story. Just so you know my stance, the game is amazing. It is 100% game of the year, no question. Ghost of Tsushima 2 comes out this year. I bet they are pissed. I bet they are sweating like, what the fuck? Because Ghost of Tsushima 1 was a masterpiece. This is also its own masterpiece in its whole other world. This game is in my top 3 of all time. And the only reason it's not number 1 is because number 1 is a personal nostalgic game that is actually, ironically, you would think inspired this game. So I think that's why I put it so highly. Again, that's personal opinion. It's not my job to sway your opinion, regardless. Okay, probably played it if you watch this because I'm incredibly late. But if so, I will put the spoilers at the end. So I'll warn you, don't worry. But the story is there are a bunch of people. There are a bunch of people living in this world called Lumiere, which is like its own Paris, and the residents of this place get gommaged every year. Gommage means a race in French. They get gommaged every year, and there's like a festival called Gommage, kind of, every year where they all attend. And basically anyone of the age that is on this big monolith that they see at the end of the city, it's across the ocean. The monolith has a lady there, a paintress, like god creature, so this long big creature. And it basically wipes the number and it paints on a new number and it goes down every year. So we are in the 33rd year, hence the name Expedition 33. Expedition being just the people who go out on journeys to go see what's going on. Really. You go take down the paintress. And that's it. That is the game. Sounds basic, but boy, it is not. And it is so well done. So well done. But that is the story. And the story is a 10 out of 10, no question. I'm not going to do the whole crazy edits. This is going to be very raw. I want my reviews to be raw and easy. Because then I can churn them out without getting overwhelmed because I'm doing other stuff. But I am genuinely passionate about this. I am genuinely passionate about talking about games and reviewing them and sharing opinions. I want a community, and I really want to build a community of guys not guys like guys, but as in like all of us gamers, where we all just come together and just discuss these games and what they are. Some that are serious, some that are not serious. Have fun. Like, I want to create a place because I am chewing my girlfriend's ear off by talking about this game non-stop. And Blaine is stories 10 out of 10. We're going to quickly talk about the usual. So gameplay, very good gameplay, very fun, very interactive. The build variety is really good. Everything about it's really good. I love how everything about it is fun. I personally love turn-based games, so I am biased. Some of the best games out there, especially story-wise, are turn-based because it gives you time to really appreciate the moves you do, the cinematics. It looks better. But that's my very hot personal take. Turn-based games are just better. Gameplay is really good. The gameplay is clever. The way it does it is clever. The overworld system, the map system. There are some critiques. Naturally, I wish they had some kind of map system or some kind of... The biggest critique about the gameplay is I wish they had a golden path, clear, like when you're going through the game, sometimes I'll go through and I like to explore the world, and sometimes they don't make it clear which one's the right path and which way is the side path to make sure you don't miss anything. The graphics are fantastic, amazing, like the actual look of this stuff, the way they've animated this, I don't know how long it took them to make this game, but it feels like it took them decades because it's so well done. I think they outsourced it in a Korean studio, judging by the credits. I think the Korean studio animated everything, so whoever animated this, like, fantastic. If I was to ever make a game, I would want this studio to make it. That's how good they are. And this is their first game together as a studio. And I love the passion. Again, you guys don't need to hear it again, but the 30 people in the team, obviously they outsource, but the core team is 30 people. They're just amazing. I would do anything to work with these kind of people, honestly. Fantastic. Like, I love the passion behind it. I love that they just did it and they said, we want to do it this way. And that is the best way to live with these things. When it comes to art and creative media, especially the tonnage of the game, It is all about art, and it's all about like how you create things with passion. That is okay. So the whole turn-based thing is fine. You know, I know a lot of people don't like turn-based, so that's fine. It is very creative. They added the parry system from the Mario game all the way back in the day, which is great. I love the parry system. Definitely makes it more fun. I found myself parrying more than dodging near like Act 2 to Endgame. It made the bosses way more interactive. However, gameplay great, story great. Turn-based. If you don't like turn-based, just try it. Like, promise me you'll just try it. You can still refund the game if you don't like it. I highly encourage you just to try the game. If you don't like it, genuinely, it's not a big deal. Just watch the story. You would be missing out on the story. But if you don't want to play the game, just watch the story part of it, because it's really, really good. This part has its own section. I will put this in. The music. My God, the music is so good. I'm not joking. To win a game for me, the music has to be unreal. Ghost of Tsushima had really, really beautiful music. Wukong had pretty good music. Last of Us, fantastic soundtrack. God of War had a great soundtrack. But this, whew, no one has come close. They are the best to ever do it. Right, Laureate, if it's wrong, I'll cut this out. But regardless, this guy, I'm not going to bore you with the story of how this studio found him and how it came to be, because I'm sure by now you've heard it a million times, so I don't need to tell you. I just need to tell you this fucking music is amazing. Like, when you're going against a boss, a certain boss, there's a song that comes on, right? When I heard that song for the first time, it was insane. Like, insane. I was like playing the game, right? Banger. Oh, that isn't even the best song. At the start of the game, there's a certain song where, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but I'm not even going to spoil that, because that moment is beautiful. We will get there. Next point, but yeah, the music is fantastic. I'll put a couple tracks throughout this video anyway, but there's like 150 of them. I listen to them now. Amazing. Amazing. And ever again, he is going to be constantly booked. But I think Sanford, seriously, you guys are the best. You are the best. I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Give me a job. I beg. I would love to work for a company that is so passionate like that. Okay, so the review is, yes, it's a 10 out of 10. Should you go play it? Yes, you should go play it. And the reason I'm wrapping that up is because I'm officially going to start talking about spoilers. So if you do not want anything, if you haven't played the game, just take my word for it. I'm sure by now you're convinced. Go buy the game. It's cheap as well. It's 40 quid instead of fucking 60. Play this game. It is the best game you will ever play in your life. And if you don't like it, you can come tell me personally and I will do nothing. But it's fantastic. Okay, spoilers now. Go away if you don't want spoilers. Shoot. Right. I wrote down some points. Okay, so as I was playing the game, there was a bunch of points I wanted to talk about that I was just like, yeah, this is crazy. So, here they are. Okay, one of the biggest points I have is in Act 2 when you finally beat the Paintress, right? And you learn all this stuff. My biggest thought, especially as they just kill the Paintress and then they lay the flag down and they think it's over and they go back to Lumiere and everything's fine for a bit. My biggest reflection, I said this to my girlfriend yesterday, is it made me, and I said it to her today, like this morning. I beat it that part like days ago. And I said, do you know what I've been thinking about since then? I said, it makes me remember and realize that there is like half the time when you actually get to the end of your goal, your purpose is gone. I don't know. I just thought about it and I just think this game really highlighted purpose for me and how no matter what you think at the time, you have some purpose of some kind. I'm looking at my statue here. I'm going to video this afterwards and cut this in. My statue, it looks like a gestural. That's how much this game's affecting me. I can't even look at my own pompous anymore without it looking like gestural. That's a sexy gestural too. I might have to blur that. that's Golgra. That's Golgra. I got Golgra gestural. but the broken one because she got no arms. Anyway, yeah, I just thought about purpose and how I had a bigger point, but I don't want to make this video too long. But yeah, a big deep point about how purpose is, we live for purpose, and they beat the paintress, and then their purpose was gone, and you could tell that they felt a bit weird. They were just like, now what? We live on for what? Like, everyone's dead. Bear in mind, this is before we find out the truth about Mael, right? Alicia or whatever. Again, you should not hear this if you don't have spoilers. But before that point, they don't know Mael can paint everyone back. So as far as they're concerned, everyone is dead. Yeah, they can technically move on, but then they go back to Lumiere and everyone gets evaporated anyway. So then she definitely loses her purpose. Okay, well, before we get into like the end game stuff and what I want to talk about, things I wish that happened in the game that bothered me, because obviously there are cons. My only cons about the game are, I wish we found out more about the writers situation, because the writers burning down the house for no fucking reason makes no sense to me. Hopefully, if you know the answer, please comment it down below. But why would, I know they're at war, but they don't ever go into that, and that makes it a bit like, well, you're telling me they just burned down the house and killed your son, and they're just walking around getting away with it? And I know Clair said, yeah, we're at war with them, but what does that mean? Is this like a magic? Is the real world magical too, where they actually do have powers? Per se, is power actually power, or is it just a metaphorical way of saying that when you go into your art, and I love the concept, like it's all about art, when you go into art and you become obsessed with your art, it takes over your life, which is like what happens to the quick, all the games that I review, I will be streaming live on Twitch. Go in the link, everything will be there. However, if you're watching this review, that means I've already played this game, therefore go into the lives thing and you'll see my entire playthrough unedited, just so yeah, you'll see me. Yeah, anyway, go back and enjoy the review. And when they go in the canvas, they're not in the canvas, they are within their work. Whenever you're in your craft and you're addicted to it, you become a bit mad, and I think that's the whole point. Or it's literal and they have powers, and they are going against writers who have their own powers, and the musicians who have their own powers. Like, what if that's how it goes? I don't know, we'll find out. Maybe a DLC or the second game will explain that. But that's where I was thinking, that's where I was getting a bit like, what's going on here? Spoiler. At the end of the game, when you grab little Verso and he says, come on Verso, and they confirm that is Verso, right? I hate when games show you something and you predict and you're like, oh, like when I predicted from like the start, I was like, I feel like this is little Verso. When he says come Verso, obviously I like that it's not calling us an idiot for not knowing, but I like that they're basically confirming, saying, yeah, it is Verso, by the way, and you're like, oh, I knew it. That is such a good feeling. Clair making Nevrons, you have to really think about it to understand why she's making Nevrons, because technically it's a bit of a long-winded way to help her dad kill the mum or get her out the canvas, because she's making enemies to kill expeditioners to stop her getting chroma so she can get weaker and weaker, and Remwar can one day beat her. But then it's like, well, I mean, I'm sure there's quicker ways to do it than that. I like that the expeditioners weren't actually going for the painters originally, so the Expedition Zero, I love that in Expedition Zero, when you're hearing it, you're like, Verso's lying, there probably wasn't ever an Expedition Zero, but there was. But the Expedition Zero was him, Simon, amazing, I love that part, and how they are looking. The first ever expedition was actually made to look for the people who were disappeared from the fracture, like Clair, and like, well, Clair got taken by her real self and painted over and made Nevrons, but that in their head they were looking for those people, and that's why Verso was with Julie, and that's why and I think it's so peak that Verso got told the truth by Clair straight away, so he had to live with the idea, knowing he's immortal but no one can know. Even though in his head he's like, no, I'm one of you guys. So good. I love that. I could go in depth, but I don't want this to be too long. Verso's ending is obviously the good ending. Mael's is obviously the bad ending. I've been seeing people saying, oh, I never liked Verso, fuck Verso. Or they're saying, oh, Mael's ending is the real good ending. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? No offense. I never rarely will be like, oh yeah, I'm right or die on this point. But it is so obvious that Mael being the one to survive, like if you pick Mael's side, she literally goes mad inside the painting and she's just gonna die. And then you're like, oh yeah, but that's what she wants. That's what she wants. She's a 16-year-old kid who's grieving her brother. Like, she doesn't know. And on top of that, right, let's take that out of the equation. Let's say she's 30, because technically she's 16 in the role and she did 16 years there. So let's say she got the mental capacity of a 30-year-old, 32-year-old, right? Even so, The mother got stuck in there. She saw what it did to her mother. The reason Verso went against her was because like, wait, I just saw what that did to our mum. Like, that's so twisted. Like, that is not, that's gonna, and he, in his head, he's thinking, Male, that's gonna happen to you. Why are we fighting to keep you to be in the same cycle? And what is on the front of the game when you press play? It says, I can't remember what it says at the first part, but then after that it says, break the cycle. The whole point of the game is about breaking the cycle. The cycle of it to the Lumiere residents and the expeditioners, basically. Their cycle is and Gustav says it at the start. He says, "Yeah, I'm gonna break the cycle so no one else gets hurt from the paintress's choices or decisions or for what the paintress is doing." That is he is literally calling out what Verso does, because he's saying, "I'm gonna stop the paintress from making choices or doing things that stops the future of other people, that halts other people's futures." And at the end, Verso is doing that choice. He's stopping the paintress, Mael, from doing things that will affect other people's futures. Alicia's, her actual future, the family's real life future. It's not just about Mael, because poor Renoir. Do you know what I mean? Poor Renoir and Clair, they have their brother die in a fire. The mother went mad, right? Then they get the mother out, and the poor mother too. Because Mael just stays in the canvas, she goes nuts, and she ends up dying in the canvas, right? And then they have to burn the canvas anyway. Do you really think Mael staying in the canvas, she dies in the canvas, they're just going to keep it around? They're obviously going to kill the people of Lumiere anyway. So that is obviously the right decision. I understand. Bear in mind, I did both endings because I was curious. I do understand when people say, like, you know, it's a real world, they're sentient, they're people. Yes, they are, but also it is also, like, grain of salt, because in the same sense, if you was looking in, you can say it's about art. It's about the fact that art is living. You know, you live through your art. It's your passion. It makes you feel things, and it's attachment to. And the thing is, I completely understand the point of Mael wants to keep everyone alive. She revives everyone. Everyone's happy, but they all just become her puppets. Because think about this, right? Mael they're all in the theater, which I think is very telling. That when they go in the theater, they talk about they're watching Verso play the piano like a slave. Hey Bear. He's also playing the piano, right? I love the sequence where he plays and then it is the credits. That's really clever. And I love the whole references, and Verso's a musician. Like, all of it shows that Verso is a slave to the painting. And the thing is, Verso's innocent. He dies in the fire, helping Mael, saving Mael. So he's already done one good thing. Then he's made to be immortal in a painting. He hates painting. He doesn't even like to paint. He's a musician. He loves music. So then he's forced to paint for an eternity because Mael doesn't want to lose him, and he's already lived for 100 years, and 100 years of watching people he cares about die, and 100 years of having to lie to everyone he cares about, and be called the bad guy for lying. Everyone who says they hate Verso because he lies, but he's being forced to lie. So Mael is now making it so he has to keep on lying all the time. But I guess now he doesn't have to lie because the truth is out and the paintress doesn't exist. But now he's just sat there watching Mael essentially die, and the same thing that happened to his mother happened to her. Why would he want that? He literally, and the thing is, like, there's so many signs that the developers made so many points to say that that is the wrong decision, because Verso literally says, please unpaint me, basically saying, please kill me. I do not want to live. Do not let that little boy, the little me, stay alive. That is slavery. And she's like, no, I'm gonna bring everyone back to life. And the thing is, all of her friends now, they all know the truth about her being a paintress, except Gustav doesn't even know this. So Gustav basically being another version of Verso and Renoir, because she says, oh, you're like the father and brother I never had, which was really sad for Verso to hear, I'm sure. But for her, like, for Gustav to hear that, if he heard the truth, he's probably, like, reality, he would probably be like, Mael, that's terrible. Like, what are you talking about? So you're telling me we're all fake and you brought us back to life, but that your brother's a slave now and you're gonna die? And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna die, but I'm here, so I won't die, really. And he's like, oh my god, this is awful. I do not approve. Why would he approve of that? Because he cares about her. So interesting as well that both of her brothers, like, I love Gustav's like blend, because Gustav is essentially representing Verso in the same way that he sacrificed himself for Mael to live, the same way Verso did, which is really cute. But yeah, and they also, and if Verso's saying unpaint me and begging to die, wasn't enough proof that it's the wrong ending. When Verso is now about to play the piano, there's that little sparkle, not sure what it meant, but then you look back and he looks at everyone and everyone's like looking like little puppets, and then they look at Mael and Mael's got the painting on her eyes like her mum had, that she's gone mad, and there's even a little piano going. So of course it's the worst decision. They are literally telling you straight away it's the bad decision, and it's not a good idea because she's gonna die. And then so then she dies, the canvas burns, and everyone dies anyway. And in the outside world, the mum, Renoir, and Clair probably are even more depressed because 2 of their kids died, and they'll never paint again because they know the consequence of painting. But it took 2 family members. So I can't see why that's a good ending in any regard, except for the fact that you get to see Gustave and Sophie together again for about 5 seconds, and Pierre and Ciel and the child, which is cute. I like how it's very. I really like how, especially canonically, it should be canon anyway. The game ends and begins by fighting Mael, to say to the gameplay, like, this is the only right decision at the end. You will be the brother fighting the sister, saying, hey. I think that is a thing as well. That's my main points. Another addition is everyone there. Do you really think Ciel and all of them are going to be comfortable with the fact that Mael's like can do anything? Imagine having a friend that is younger than you, half your age, bear in mind, and she is a god. She can do anything. You would just be so scared of her. You would live in fear. Even if she's a good kid, she will go nuts, and eventually she'll just go so crazy she'll do some weird stuff. So, and every time you're looking at Verso, he literally is just silent. He just feels like he's a slave the whole time. But the key of the game is to break the cycle, and if you chose Verso's ending, you are breaking the cycle, and that's just how it is. But yeah, game's 10 out of 10, million out of 10, love it. Thank you so much for watching.